How sweet it is to still be playing basketball with a chance to win a national championship. Tennessee on to the Sweet 16. Tennessee Athletics, it's in the golden age right now. Let's talk about it. It's Monday, Lockdown Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into it, your Monday morning edition of Locked On Vols. I'm your host, Cain. Appreciate you guys for being here, making Locked On Vols your first listen, your first watch each and every single morning. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day. Every dayers couldn't do it without you. Hey, tomorrow's show, Tuesday's show, mailbag show, getting in your questions, comments, concerns. A lot going on right now. Spring football getting back going this week. Of course, Tennessee on to the Sweet 16. You got Tennessee baseball that's 5-1 in SEC play. So much happening right now. So get in those questions, comments, concerns at _Cain. Or, of course, you can comment on the YouTube channel. Big shout out to our friends over at Game Time for being a part of today's show. You can download the Game Time app, create an account, put in the promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. All that and more over at Game Time. We are in the golden age of Tennessee athletics right now. We're in the good old days, okay? If you didn't know it already, and you know, fans is short for fanatic. There we go. I had to get my words correctly. Fans are short for fanatics. So many times we are quick to anger, slow to reason. Okay, we think this is the worst thing in the world. This is the worst player in the world. This is the worst coach in the world. But again, fan is short for fanatics. But if you sit back and look at things from a 20-mile radius, I guess, from a long view, Tennessee athletics right now, man, it is humming. We're going to talk about that here in a matter of seconds. 5 freshmen that are standing out in spring football for me so far through the first 4 practices. And, of course, practice number 5 getting going tomorrow morning. And Tennessee baseball made a big old statement this weekend. What statement was that? All that and more coming up here on today's show. So Tennessee on to the Sweet 16 for the 3rd straight season. If you didn't catch the immediate reaction podcast from early Sunday morning, I encourage you to go back and listen to that. I went into the nitty gritty. Chaz Lanier did this. Zakai Zeigler did this. The 1-2-2, the 3/4 full court press trap, whatever you want to call it. I'm not a basketball X's and O guys. You guys know this. I went into the nitty gritty on that reaction pod, so I'm not going to necessarily do that here today. But I encourage you to go back and listen to that and watch that because I feel like it was a pretty good show. I love doing those when I have time. I love doing those post game shows because it's all fresh on the mind, right? But Tennessee's on to the Sweet 16, 3rd straight year that the Volunteers have gone to the Sweet 16. That has never happened in program history before. Never happened in program history before. Okay, you look at what Rick Barnes has accomplished in his 10 years as Tennessee's basketball coach. Okay, this is the 7th straight NCAA tournament appearance. This is the 4th Sweet 16, 3rd straight Sweet 16, but the 4th Sweet 16 Rick Barnes has taken Tennessee to. Last year was an Elite 8 appearance. Okay, Tennessee trying to get back to the Elite 8 for the 3rd time in program history, 2nd time in as many seasons, and 2nd time under Rick Barnes. Rick Barnes has won the SEC regular season twice. Rick Barnes has won the SEC tournament championship once and played in the tournament championship game a couple of times, including, last week. But that tournament championship was the first tournament championship in the SEC for Tennessee since Burt Bertelkamp was leading the charge back in 1979. So that just goes to show you how long that was until Tennessee did that back in 2002, I believe. He's been a 4-time Coach of the Year throughout his Tennessee tenure by different publications, including the big one. He was the Naismith Coach of the Year back in 2019. For a guy that had run out of gas, for a guy that was about to head off into retirement, for a guy that had nothing left, that's all what Texas thought of him. That's what Texas thought of him, okay? Tennessee has said, okay, we'll take that, we'll take this, we'll take this. This is the golden age of Tennessee basketball, says UCLA head coach Mick Cronin. He said that a couple days ago before the Sweet 16 or before the round of 32 matchup. And sure, there's been some other good stretches of Tennessee basketball. I'm not disputing that. I mean, what Bruce Pearl did here was phenomenal. There's been some other good head coaches that have had success. Again, I'm not disputing that. But the overall 10-year run that this basketball program has been on, what Mick Cronin said, I believe, reigns true. This is the golden age of Tennessee basketball. So it got me thinking a little bit. Also, Rick Barnes is going to get a $200,000 bonus for going back to the Sweet 16 in case you're running. This got me thinking just a little bit. and we have this conversation from time to time, but you see it on social media, and certainly the University of Tennessee is pushing this, an all-everything school. An all-everything school. So if this is the golden age of Tennessee basketball, which I believe it is this not the good old days for Tennessee athletics? Let me show my work here. We're in the present, so it's not like this is the good old days. Think 10, 15 years into the future. Think 20, 30 years in the future when you're sitting there with your grandkids on your knee here, just give it, just hanging out with the grandkids, hanging out with the family, okay? Are you going to look back on this, 2018, 2019 to, 2025, 2026, hopefully it extends on a little bit more, era of Tennessee athletics and say, boy, those were some good teams. Those were some fun times. We were super relevant. We had so much fun. We won championships. And sure, baseball's won a national championship, but, you hope football is going to get there. You hope Tennessee basketball does it this year. Tennessee basketball and baseball have won SEC championships, so on and so forth. Are you going to look back and say, boy, those were the good old days? Kind of like I do with football in the 90s. Kind of like, prior to Tony Vitello, you look back at 1995, 2001, 2005 is, with Tennessee baseball and certain different spots in Tennessee basketball history with Bruce Pearl and some others as well. But we'll start there. Look at football, okay? So I just went over Rick Barnes' accomplishments here at Tennessee. Josh Heupel in 4 seasons has led Tennessee to a 10-win regular season. In 4 seasons, he has won the Orange Bowl. He has won the Citrus Bowl. He has made a college football playoff. Sure, there are still many, many, many mile markers to check off. I'm not disputing that, okay? There's been a couple of SEC Player of the Years, okay? Dylan Sampson, most notably, Hendon Hooker. There's been a couple. There's been a few. That's important, but there's not been any SEC championships. He never won the East whenever the SEC was split into 2 divisions. But 10-win regular season, big-time bowl games, and now the cream of the crop is a college football playoff appearance. You need to have sustained success in the CFP. You need to continue to go on. You need to play for a national championship. But so far in 4 seasons, not the hotel brand, not the hotel franchise, but so far in 4 seasons, Josh Heupel on Tennessee football is rolling. And I can't wait to see what this team looks like in the fall. And we talk about that every day here on the show. But that's football, right? You can disagree with how he coaches, who is coaching for him on his staff, some of the players. I get all that, but the results don't lie. 2 10-win regular seasons, a CFP appearance, first time in program history, and an Orange Bowl win and a Citrus Bowl win. In 4 years, you take that run every single day. And then, of course, you go to baseball. Cultivating with the 2024 National Championship, Tony Vitello has taken his team to 3 College World Series in the past 4 years. He's been a 2-time SEC regular season champion coach, a 2-time SEC tournament championship coach. He has won the SEC East Division 3 times before it split off into 16 teams. He has taken Tennessee baseball to the NCAA postseason 5 times, 4 times to Super Regional play. He's been a 4-time National Coach of the Year, and he was the 2022 SEC Coach of the Year. Tony Vitello's back of the baseball card it reads itself, right? It's self-explanatory. This is truly the best and most awesome time, trademark, in Tennessee baseball history. So if you look at it all together, what we just went and talked about with basketball, okay? What we just went over briefly with football, what we just talked about in baseball. And I understand the Lady Vols got some positive momentum going on right now with Kim Caldwell. I'm recording this prior to their matchup with Ohio State in the NCAA round of 32. I recognize that, but still overall positive momentum. We know what softball's brought to the athletics department year over year with the weeklies, and now Karen leading the charge by herself. We know about the non-revenue sports and track and field and what they've done, tennis, golf. They've won SEC championships. Like Andy Bernard in my favorite sitcom of all time, in The Office, right? In the series finale, okay, it went downhill after Steve Carell left. I recognize that. Michael Scott was no longer a part of the things. It went downhill a little bit. The showrunner went off and started doing Parks and Rec and started doing a bunch of other things. But season 9, I felt like finished pretty strong. And in that series finale, you have Andy Bernard, Ed Helms, the lovable, dorky character that sits there and says, man, I wish somebody would let us know that we're in the good old days before the good old days are done. That's where we are right now with Tennessee athletics. And whether you realize that or not, whether you sit back and are just acknowledging that, or whether you knew it but you didn't want to say it out loud, We're in the good old days right now. Don't hide from it. Embrace it. It's awesome. Everything's cool. I think it's great. And I can't wait to see how Tennessee basketball finishes this run with another Sweet 16 victory, hopefully back to the Elite Eight, and then we'll see what happens from there. Tennessee baseball already off and running, and of course, all the conversation year-round is always about Josh Heupel's Tennessee football team. Fun show so far. That was a fun segment. Would love your comments, concerns, @_Cain or @Locked On Vols, the mailbag edition of Locked On Vols. That is coming up on Tuesday's show. So don't be afraid to send in anything you have. 5 freshmen who are standing out at Tennessee football spring practice. A couple of them probably going to surprise you. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Vols. Daylight savings time snuck up on us again, and if you're feeling lost without that hour of sleep, 5-Hour Energy has your back. Extra sunshine means more fun, but sometimes you need a little bit of boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching NCAA tournaments, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5-Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. I've been staying up super late, like on Saturday night when I was on my way home from Tuscaloosa, watching the end of the game as soon as I got back home and doing a quick reaction pod. I've been staying up super late watching basketball here lately. I'm sure you are as well. 5-Hour Energy can help you that next day, right? Longer days, getting outside for a hike. Maybe you need a tropical burst. My go-to quick boost, 5-Hour Energy. Plus, whether I'm at a game or traveling like I was this weekend, 5-Hour Energy is easy to grab and keeps me fueled and refreshed. Head on over to 5hourenergy.com. Find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack, even your own briefcase, your 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Go ahead and grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery store or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today. Stay energized with 5-Hour Energy. It is a Monday Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys for being here and making us your first listen, your first watch each and every single morning. You guys know it. Mailbag show coming up tomorrow. Write a comment here on YouTube. By the way, I looked at the analytics over the weekend. I'm really bad at focusing up on things that are important for my career, like the analytics of the show on YouTube. I saw that 50% of people that view the show, there's a lot of people that view the show. Can't thank you enough for that, by the way. 50% of people that view the show are not subscribed on YouTube. So if you're watching right now or listening, have it playing in the background or whatever, if you have a YouTube account, guys, just please subscribe, man. That helps. That helps me. That helps the show grow, and that helps the show get in front of more and more Tennessee fans. At the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? There are so many great content creators, so many great shows and podcasts. Tennessee is blessed with that because the fan base, you guys just want it. Let's get this show in front of more Tennessee fans that maybe don't even know about it. So please subscribe on YouTube if you wouldn't care. That'd be awesome. And, of course, do your thing on audio. That's where the money's made. So go ahead and subscribe and automatically download those episodes as well. Okay, that's a little housekeeping. Sorry about that. Let's move on. Spring practice is back. Spring practice is resuming on Tuesday. So you had 4 practices, and I always hate how they do this, but it's not just Tennessee. It's a lot of schools that do this. But you start spring practice, then you take a week off, and you go off to spring break, and then you come back and you finish. Like when we were at Carson Newman, we got all that done before spring break, so it was cool. You were doing spring practice, you did the spring game, and then boom, it's spring break, like it's a celebration. So I always enjoyed that. But you're coming back. Practice number 5 will be Tuesday morning. And so far through 4 practices, don't get to see an awful lot, but on the second day of practice, we got to see about an hour's worth. Here are some 5 freshmen that are standing out to me, whether I've seen something, whether I've been told something, and we'll go in reverse order. Number 5 might surprise you a little bit, and I'm intrigued to see how he finishes spring practice because I think that there's need in the defensive secondary. There is a need for depth, and there's a need to keep Tennessee out of the transfer portal in the defensive secondary. Number 5 is Dylan Lewis. Dylan Lewis can play a little bit corner. He's playing a little bit of star. The extended practice that we got to see, he was backing up Boo Carter at the star position. Will that hold? I don't know. We'll see. That was before pads came on, but Dylan Lewis was getting some reps at the star position. Tennessee needs a star. Especially if Boo Carter is going to be playing a little bit of offense. He's a defensive back first, as Tim Banks said last week or 2 weeks ago, but still, you need some depth there. And Dylan Lewis, I think, is making a couple of plays and kind of staying relevant to where his name is on people's minds. So I want to see if he can continue that and finish spring practice strong and maybe be a key depth piece for the University of Tennessee next year. That is freshman Dylan Lewis at the star position. He can also play corner. Number 4, Travis Smith. And again, the numbers-wise, don't have much of a choice. Rodarius Jackson, Travis Smith, 2 freshmen, early enrollee wide receivers, both on the outside. No choice. Got to be players because they are the next man up at their positions. If Mike Matthews or Chris Bradsell goes down, those 2 guys are going to have to play no matter what. And it continues to be super intriguing to see if Tennessee's going to go get a body in the transfer portal. And you hate to phrase it like that. Just need a body, just need a body. But guys, at the end of the day, you just need a body. You do, because you don't have enough. You don't have enough. So having said all that, I like the bodies that are in the room. I think Bradsell's going to take a step. Outside of a couple plays last year. I think I said this with Chase Thomas on his show, and I meant no disrespect by it, but I can only think of 2 really, really good plays that Bradsell made last year. Touchdown against Alabama, they schemed it up for him, and then in the Vanderbilt game when Tennessee was, down 14-0, critical third down there in the first quarter, he went up between 2 defenders, made a catch, and got pummeled and held on to the football. Can he take a step and grow? He's going to have to, okay, but back to the freshman that I'm talking about, I think Travis Smith, he's got all the tangibles. His body looks good in terms of he's big. He looks physical. I think he's got a little bit of a swagger about him, talks a little bit. His traits are undeniable. High points of the football, good route runner. Still needs to be molded and crafted into a wide receiver at this level. But I think Travis Smith is kind of opening some eyes a little bit. So he comes in there at number 4 for me. Number 3 is Isaiah Campbell. And like wide receiver, like defensive back, there's a couple of spots on this roster where there's serious opportunity. And there is serious opportunity at defensive tackle, especially right now. Why? Well, Amari Thomas, Omar Norman Lott, Elijah Simmons, bye-bye, going to the NFL. Okay? You're bringing back Bryson Eason, great. Jackson Moy, awesome. David Hobbs, awesome. But David Hobbs is not going through spring practice. Nathan Robinson is out for the rest of spring practice, or at least he's out right now. He's banged up right now. Jamal Wallace was not in full pads some last week, or 2 weeks ago. So there's not a lot of bodies at defensive tackle. So true freshman Isaiah Campbell and Ethan Utley, they are defensive tackles 3 and 4 right now. And Ethan Utley's got to gain a lot of weight. He does. But Isaiah Campbell already kind of has the look and the mold of what a defensive lineman in this league looks like. Now he's got to be crafted into playing the right way for Rodney Gardner. But I think Rodney Gardner likes those 2 guys. He met with us 2 Fridays ago, right before they headed off to spring break, and he kind of laughed when talking about these 2 guys. He said, I think they're learning how to play for me, and I think they take it in stride, meaning Rodney Gardner's not a two-faced guy, but there is a difference in being recruit and then being player, okay? You're going to get the wrath of Rodney Gardner. I think Isaiah Campbell actually laughed about it and said, I think I got that today when he spoke to the media a couple weeks ago. But I think they're taking it in stride. And I think Isaiah Campbell can be a guy that really helps Tennessee, and his name continues to be mentioned a lot. We're going to find out a lot more when they don the full pads repeatedly like they will this week. Isaiah Campbell at number 3. Number 2, Juan Morris, a running back. And this is intriguing to me because you lost Dylan Sampson, and he's going to be so tough to replace. He's such a phenomenal football player. But the position group is much more well-rounded, if you will. And I'll be intrigued to see how Darrell Sims wants to play it this year. Yeah, Jerry Mack to like to play 3 backs. Last year, Darrell Sims only really played 2 backs because there was always a third that was injured. But you've got Peyton Lewis, you've got Deshaun Bishop, you got Star Thomas that you brought in via the transfer portal that I think can do a number of different things. Well, I'll have to believe that Tennessee will throw the football to the running backs out of the backfield before I see it. I'll have to see it before I believe it. There we go. That's better. But then you've got Juan Morris coming around. Physically, passing the eye test, like Isaiah Campbell. He's a guy that's like, okay, all right, that is an SEC-looking running back. He's explosive. He's up to about 200 pounds, which is really, really good for him. He runs through contact. I think that he's shown an ability to grasp the offense. Let me try that again. Again, not a whole lot of sleep this weekend, guys. I do apologize. But I'll be intrigued to see does he force the hand of maybe a Star Thomas? Does he force the hand of a Darrell Sims to play 4 running backs? Surely to goodness they're not going to play 4 running backs. But he's coming along a little bit. Again, all this just through 4 practices in spring. How do you finish spring practice? That's what I want to know. But Juwan Morris is absolutely in this top 5 for me. I think that he's looked good. I think that he's practiced well. And I think there's a certain buzz around him right now at Tennessee football spring practice. Number 1, of course, is David Sanders. And again, I continue to say this broken record. I'm sorry. How do you finish? What do you look like day over day in full pads? They've only had 1 day of full pads so far. And so we're gonna learn a lot more about these guys as this week goes along, as we move towards the spring, the orange and white game on April the 12th. But David Sanders, from a athletic standpoint, from a trait standpoint, from a technical standpoint, from a willingness to learn standpoint, man, he's passing everything with flying colors. Now, from a strength standpoint, that's my biggest question that we've talked about. He is going to be blocking grown men that, 21, 22 years old, sometimes 23 years old. Okay, he's going to be blocking grown men. How does he hold up and do in that regard early on? But so far, he's been looking really, really good. You could just go out there and turn on the tape, and you see him do a drill, and you're like, oh man, that is a really, really good football player, right? And that's kind of who David Sanders is. No surprise. So what does he look like this week as they continue to go full pads? I'll be intrigued. But David Sanders certainly has got the most buzz around him. And that's typical of like a 5-star incoming player of any kind, but also like the quarterback and Mike Matthews last year, Nico 2 years ago. That makes a whole lot of sense. Number 5, Dylan Lewis. Number 4, Travis Smith. Number 3, Isaiah Campbell. Number 2, DeJuan Morris. And number 1, David Sanders. Those are 5 freshmen that have stood out to me so far in spring practice. Tennessee baseball made a statement this weekend. It might sound weird to say the reigning national champions went out there and made a statement all college baseball, but Tennessee absolutely did that. What do I mean? It's coming up next right here on Locked On Vols. Imagine watching your favorite team live, feeling the energy of the crowd and witnessing the unforgettable moments. There's nothing quite like experiencing big games in person. Getting tickets shouldn't be stressful. That's where Game Time comes in, making it easier than ever to grab last-minute seats at unattainable prices. You guys know I can't say those phrases in this ad right now, but we know what's coming up this weekend. Okay, that special round of the college basketball tournament. Some would say it's neat. You know what I'm saying? So much fun. And if you go to that game or a game like it, what an unforgettable experience. I remember back in 2010 with my grandfather, who's no longer with us. I went to the ACC championship game in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I watched Duke win it. My grandfather went to Duke, a big-time Duke fan. I remember going to that game and watching that team win it, and they went on to win the national championship that year. And it's a memory I'll never forget, and that's just the ACC championship. I'm not talking SEC or NCAA tournament or anything like that, but you can find tickets to those events in your area. Plus, not even just sporting events. It can be comedy. It can be theater. It can be whatever show is happening that you need a ticket for. You can buy those tickets on the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, and you can check out the lowest price guarantee, where they're going to credit you 110% of the difference if you find a cheaper ticket somewhere else. Download the Game Time app, create an account, put in the promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. That's Locked On College, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Couple more minutes left here on this Monday morning, Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us, getting those questions for tomorrow's show, and we'll answer them on the Mailbag Tuesday Locked On Vols. Tennessee baseball made a statement this past weekend. And again, it's kind of weird to say, well, the reigning national champions made a statement. We're here and we're not going anywhere, right? I mean, well, duh, you just won a national championship. But so many times you have that hangover. And we're early in SEC play, so I'm not declaring a repeat or declaring an SEC championship or anything like that, okay? But it was a rough start to the week for Tennessee baseball, okay? The number one, they got consensus number one team in the country. I'll be intrigued to see if Tennessee holds on to that consensus number one ranked team in the country. I think they'll still be ranked number one in a couple of polls, but I doubt that it'll be consensus because you dropped the midweek game on Tuesday at ETSU, and for those of you guys that don't follow or don't follow baseball from the college level, midweek losses happen. It happens once or twice a year. It happened last year. Tennessee went on and won the national championship after dropping I think it was an April midweek contest to Lipscomb. It happens, okay? The midweek pitching plan is not it's not real baseball, okay? Tennessee throws a different guy pretty much every inning, maybe 8 guys in a ball game or whatever. That's not how you go about a weekend series in a game in SEC play. Now, the offense is legit. I mean, Tennessee's offense was kind of pitiful for the majority of that game against ETSU on Tuesday, but you'll run into a club that can absolutely swing it, and ETSU can swing it, and you'll get knocked off, and that's what happened on Tuesday. So it's not the end of the world. Certainly not the end of the world, okay? But then you go on short week, and by the way, you just knew that Tuesday game had trap game written all over it because you came off a huge series sweep at home over the then ranked number 7 team in the country, the Florida Gators. You turn around on Tuesday to face a really hot-hitting, home run hitting club in ETSU that's 15-3 at the time. And then you got a short week, meaning you got to go down to Tuscaloosa and begin a 3-game series on Thursday night. That had trap game written all over it. So Tennessee drops that game. You go down on Thursday. You got your ace Liam Doyle out there, and he got pummeled in the second inning. Okay, he walked 2 with the bases loaded, walked in 2 runs. He hit a batter. There was a runner on first and second, no outs. A ground ball hit right to Manny Marin at second base. You make that play 9 times out of 10. Easy flip to short. You go the 4, the 6, the 3. Say it all together, folks. A pitcher's best friend is a double play. It was textbook. And Manny had his eyes on the second base bag before he fielded the ball cleanly. Air, loaded the bases. And then that's when Liam Doyle walked in 2 runs, and there was a couple other things in that inning, but it snowballed, okay? Alabama plated 5 runs in the second inning after Tennessee took an early 2-0 lead. This is on Thursday night. Alabama grabbed another run in the third inning when Dean Curley had an error at shortstop. So Tennessee just wasn't showing up. Alabama, it was their night. Everything went their way. Reese Chapman had a home run that was robbed in right field. Dalton Bargo, I believe, had a base hit that was robbed by a sliding catch in center field. Again, I go back to the Manny Marin play when he makes that play 9 times out of 10. There was a couple other moments in that game where you're just like, man, it's just not your night. It is just not your night. And Tennessee still, because Liam Doyle kept them in this game, kept them close. He pitched through 6 innings, and he left the ball game with Tennessee trailing, but Tennessee was only down a run, I believe, at the time at 6-5. And he gave them a chance to win that game. So it's like, okay, well, it's frustrating because, you were poor with runners in scoring position. You had too many errors in the field. Alabama kept making all these plays. It's frustrating, but still, you almost won that game. On Friday, game 2 of the series, Tennessee came out and exploded. Went up 5-0 early on. Huge second and third innings. The offense was flowing. A couple of massive pinch hit RBI from Dalton Bargo. Dean Curley had a late 2-run home run. I mean, Tennessee was humming. Tennessee was leading 10-4 heading to the 9th, and it was Alabama, one of the best offenses in the country, that just wouldn't go away. Just kept chipping away. Nate Snead was out there trying to complete the game, throwing 4 2/3 or whatever it was, trying to finish the game. He just ran out of gas, and they just kept getting him. And finally, the tying run was at the plate. There's 1 out. Tony Vitello goes and gets Andrew Binky to play matchup. He gets a line out to left field against the lefty at the plate, and then brings in Tanner Franklin, who has been the Friday night guy to piggyback behind, not a true piggyback, to come in behind Liam Doyle. Throws 102 miles an hour. Jeff County native. What up, Dumpling Valley? Great kid, okay? He's been struggling here lately. And in fact, he went in Tuesday's game just to get a little bit of some work in and try to get some mojo back, if you will. And I thought he looked much better in his Tuesday appearance, but he did give up a home run. He missed on 1 pitch, and they made and one of the national leaders in home run, yes, playing for ETSU. His name is Michael Gallagher, I believe, or it's Gallagher, whatever his name is. Made him pay. But I thought he looked much better on Tuesday. But you go to Tanner Franklin with the game on the line, tying run at the plate, and he gets a massive strikeout. What a moment there. Tennessee holds on and wins game 2. And then coming out in game 3 on Saturday afternoon, Tennessee just demolished them. Andrew Fisher homered, and he truly messed with the psyche of all the Alabama fans inside that stadium at Sewell Thomas Stadium. What did he do? Well, at one point in time in the second inning, he called time, went out there, adjusted his batting gloves, did all that thing, was taking his time. And while he was taking his time, he was really taking his time. And the home faithful crowd, they were screaming at him, get in the box, booing him. And so he slows his pace down even more getting into the box. What a troll. He fouls a pitch off his foot a couple of pitches later, hurts. You're granted time in that. He's walking it off, does the same thing. Batting gloves. Just kind of, little half swing here, taking his time. They're booing him. He's going slower. Steps back in, goes yard, home run. If you're going to troll, back it up. And Andrew Fisher absolutely backed it up. It was hilarious. The next batter, Dalton Bargo's at the plate. It was a 1-2 pitch. Bargo swings, fouls it off the ground. Then it pops back up kind of in the webbing of the catcher. It happened so fast, the catcher somehow thought that he caught it. Okay, he told Rob Vaughn, the manager or the skipper for Alabama. He loses his mind. We're all watching the replay here. It's clearly it hits the ground. Loses his mind, but I think that was built up from the previous at-bat. Rob Vaughn trying to motivate his team, just getting after the umpire. He gets tossed. Dalton Bargo goes yard. I mean, the most demoralizing feeling. And so Tennessee goes on, big hits. Ariel Antigua, who came in and played and started this weekend, the last 2 games. He had a 3-hit day. That was great to see. There were many other moments. Dalton Bargo had a great weekend. Many more moments in this series. But here's my point. It was a rough start to the week. It was a short week. You were away from home. You lost game 1 in demoralizing fashion. What do? You just keep coming. You keep coming. You keep throwing a punch. You keep throwing a punch. And good teams will be left standing throwing those knockout blows in Game 3. And that's what Tennessee did. It was 9-0 at one point in time. Tennessee won 9-2 on the road at Alabama. Mind you, this Alabama team, ranked 12th in the country, really, really good. I thought Florida was really, really good last week, and so far that Tennessee's just crushed them, crushed their spirits. They have a horrible SEC record right now. I'm intrigued to see what Alabama does from here. But Tennessee just has a way of doing all this. I was sitting in the press box finishing up my post-game work Saturday afternoon before I made the long drive home, and some of the game administration that was still in the press box, they were just talking. They're like, man, you got to be so good. You got to be good every at-bat. You got to be good every inning to beat this team because this team just keeps coming, man. Like this team, like you got to be on your game. They are so good. I'm just sitting here. I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm sitting here thinking like, everything you're saying is true. Tennessee just has so many different cards it can lay on the table. And that's what it did this weekend. And all this, it's a team game, but all this without your best offensive player right now in Gavin Kilen, who's leading the team in hits, runs, slugging percentage, average, home runs, RBI. I mean, he's out. Had a injured hamstring on Tuesday. Tony Vitello said that he'll, I asked him after the game on Saturday, I said, hey, what's the latest here? He said he's gonna hit first, then fielding will come after, maybe a pinch hit, maybe DH, and then fielding will come after. But they're going to be really, really slow. Said he's probably not in the plans for Tuesday. Said it'll be an 8, 9, 10-day ordeal. So they're going to be slow with him. But at this point in the season, you got to be. But you did all this without your best offensive threat. Tennessee baseball just continues to throw them haymakers. And I thought that was a nice statement, a nice response on the road at a really good Alabama team. I think this Alabama team is really, really good. I think the starting pitching is good, and Tennessee just carved them up. Carved up the starting pitching. Now, the bullpen, they didn't get to them the way they needed to. Tennessee still left too many men and runners in scoring position. But I thought Tennessee just carved them up. So, Tennessee baseball, I thought made a nice little statement this weekend saying, hey, don't you forget about me. I'm still here. I'm still the reigning national championship, and we're trying to go back-to-back. All right. Fun show. Appreciate you guys. Love the topic in segment 1 about the good old days, the golden age of basketball. Love to hear your comments, questions, concerns. We'll spend a portion of tomorrow's show answering those at _Cainer and at Locked On Vols. Of course, you can comment on the YouTube channel as well. Please subscribe on YouTube. Please download it. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your podcast. Let's get this in front of more and more Tennessee fans. As always, guys, appreciate you so much. This is Locked On Vols.